were faced with a number of challenges. There was congestion, there was TB, there was issues of HIV/AIDS. The death rate was quite high.
What causes the high prevalence of TB in prisons? One is, of course, the high HIV prevalence among the prisoners. There is a big connection between TB and HIV. Because HIV reduces someone's immunity, it makes him vulnerable to tuberculosis. And the statistics shows that over 50% of HIV patients eventually develop TB. Two, the nutrition is not adequate. When you are poorly fed, of course, you are bound to have your immunity going down and therefore developing TB. The other problem is the infrastructure in prison. There is overcrowding in a very poorly ventilated structure. In some prisons, the overcrowding is 5 times the design capacity.
With that kind of congestion we have, if you have TB, it would be a disaster to the prisons. And not only the prisons, because inmates don't stay in prisons forever. They go out to the community and they again join their relatives and friends. So prisons would serve as an incubator for TB. With the pilot project, we were able to ensure that we have a system in place. Immediately when an inmate gets in, he has to be screened.
We first register them and quarantine them in the annex, which is a separate ward from the rest of the detainees. We do TB screening for every new detainee. We ask inmates to complete a questionnaire.
Have you ever suffered from TB?
No.
What about fever?
Fever also is there.
We also check for height and weight, calculate the body mass index.
We suspect you to be having TB. Yeah?
This test requires that you produce the sputum.
If we suspect TB, we immediately collect sputum from the detainee and send to the lab.
Directly observed sputum collection means physically present to observe the process of sputum collection from a client. It is important because when we are collecting the sputum sample, we really have to ensure that it comes from the person we really want it from. When we have tested and diagnosed that they have TB, we send them back to the clinicians.
You look at here, this one you're seeing here, all these birds have been eaten up by TB.
We immediately start directly observed treatment and isolate them in TB ward.
Directly observed treatment is being present and ensuring that the drug is taken by the right patient at that time.
Makati wamechukua mimi kwa x-ray kwenda kupima mimi huko wakapata mimi na TB, baada yake wakaleta mimi hapa kukuja kwa TB ward kukuja kupata dawa.
TB treatment takes some phases. The intensive phase, which takes about 2 months, and continuation phase, which takes 6 months.
The risk of not continuing with the TB treatment is that you are at a risk of death, you are at a risk of developing multi-drug resistance TB, which is very expensive to manage in our country.
In Gulu prisons, we have 199 clients. 47.2% of them are put on ARVs. The national target is 30%, but what they achieve is only 25%.
They're counseling me not to fear and come up to give my blood and to test it.
Na alikuwa mwezi 6 Gulu Central Prison. Nilikuwa mimi sijijua ugonjwa. Nimeanza kuenda Gulu Central Prison alipima. Mimi sasa nimeanza kujua sasa hii ugonjwa iko mwili. ugonjwa ambao alikuwa nayo alipatikana kwangu kwa mwili yangu ni TB na AIDS. Alipatia mimi transfer letter kuja Bobi hapa karibu na nyumbani. Iko naendelea kupata dawa.
One of the objectives of the project was to replicate that model of best practice across the prison system. We are starting with regional prison health units, and over time we shall scale up in the 230 prison units across the country.